You know, this video is a long time coming. Not that any of my viewers, except for one, was expecting this, but there's been this thorn in my side ever since December of 2020. I wanted to come back full force and explain my absolute love of a horror franchise, which, if you know me, is extremely off-brand. I've never been a fan of classical horror outside of vague characters that I get the basic gist of. This is the subtle way of saying that Freddy Krueger is my favorite because he's funny. I'm not particularly good with anything from the genre either. You're not going to catch me playing the first 3 Resident Evil games, Silent Hill, or even Five Nights at Freddy's because the aesthetics don't speak to me and never have. And no, it's not because I'm particularly weak to jump scares, true as that might be. It's just that I know my mental state and the horror atmosphere doesn't make me particularly excited. This is why horror-adjacent things are much more my alley, mostly because I am a fan of the literal darker tones in the framing of it all. Scooby-Doo, Nightmare Before Christmas, Corpse Bride, that's a favorite one right there, or even something that's like vaguely spooky. When it comes to anime, does it speak wonders to my character that one of my favorites is Ghost Stories? Yes, because of the English dub, this isn't up for debate.
A police station! Thank God! I never thought I'd be happy to see one of those things. Hey, put the donuts down! Drop the Krispy Kreme, Serpico! We need your help
Did you
here!
my house look like my father and my brother after 9 months or something?
Yeah, diggity!
I see.
It's plainly obvious that my brand of spook isn't highbrow or even what anyone would call good, but it's at this moment that I'd like to remind you that you saw the thumbnail, so you already know it's coming. And if you don't, well, keep your fingernails on. This video is about Higurashi. There's a cutesy aesthetic that I feel intentionally trips everyone up when it comes to the Higurashi series, and I'd like to think that's an intentional design choice on behalf of the author, Ryukishi 07. Fun fact, translate, that means Dragon Knight. What the adorable drawings are meant to do is accentuate the things that go on, from nonchalant slice of knife? Fuck me, dude. From nonchalant slice of life near romance that gives way to a murder mystery that spans 8 visual novels. A murder mystery that, while rooted in just a bit of mysticism and demonic possession, still feels grounded in its slow but eventual reveal. What the first of the 8 chapters does the best is set you up for what the rest of the series is going to be, making you guess at every possible thing that can go wrong from even the most innocuous of actions. But that's only half of the picture. The first 4 arcs make you ask questions, but what do the last 4 do? Why, they're the answers. Oh, I'm going to hell for that one, aren't I? This is the part where well, it's not pulling out the rug, it's more like I lift up a little bit of a corner and I show you that there's a bit more than on the surface to Higurashi, because there's an ongoing story being told here with recurring themes across all of the arcs in the original visual novel. Higurashi, When They Cry, has 8 original arcs to it, each of them being a visual novel that was released separately, with each arc being different versions of events in a town called Hinamizawa, in the year of our Lord 1983. Was it 73 or 83? I think it was the 80s? The first 4 are the question arcs, which are, for lack of better words, world building. They set up the individual places that the characters go through, certain beats that exist in every timeline no matter what, and the characters themselves, where everything changes. The later 4 arcs are called the answer arcs, which are spins on the original 4 which may change only 1 or 2 things in the beginning that drastically change the ultimate outcomes, all while revealing the true villain of the story. Villain's not necessarily the right word, but it does paint a picture that better suits what kind of story that is being told. With every question arc deepening what we know and creating the idea that nothing can be done to help these poor kids, it's the answer arcs that takes us ever closer to the 8th and final arc, the festival viewing. Giving a straight synopsis of the series isn't what I'm out to do, but I think it's important to talk about the characters and how, despite being similar across all versions of events, subtly show growth from reflection to reflection. Because not only does that paint a picture of what the true main character is seeing, but it's just better writing, let's be real. It's not obvious, but my favorite character is actually Keiichi. No, not because he's the only boy of the group and I felt a strange kinship when I too was 14, because that's how long ago I read this. Oh fucking god, it's been 11 years. He's not even the best written character in the series. I think that honor goes to either Mion or Rika, but it's just because throughout the entire series, he has the most believable, how do you say it, snaps. His paranoia is the one that develops slowly throughout the episodes he's given, the chapters he's moving through. By the end, you barely realize that anything is happening, and that's just one of the greatest strengths of the first arc. Characters like him, the ones who are headstrong, confident, just a ray of energy to brighten up a dark world, I don't know, I feel something in that going into the ripe old age of 25. It's only because of Keiichi existing in Hinamizawa that we eventually see the mold breaking that happens over and over again across all 8 arcs. When I say true main character, I refer to Rika, this girl, but the reason why Keiichi remains my favorite is just because he's an adolescent boy having a good time and just wants to have friends. The depth we see in him from arc to arc, painted as someone who needs redemption not for forgiveness from others, but to forgive himself for his previous life, it's something I kind of understand. We weren't all 100% great people as kids, and hell, some of us weren't great people as adults, but it's seeing him be better, what he deserves to be, just some kid having a good time. I don't know, I like that a lot. Rika, however, is where things get really interesting because she has had to live through every single one of these arcs. The same consciousness, over and over and over. The only reason she keeps coming back is due to some magic from somebody she's connected to, but she also keeps dying in every single arc. She's just a consistent casualty in every reflection of hers. This is the part where I tell you that this story features a lot of murder! And Rika is a constant casualty because she's and then and die! When you normally find this out, it's usually the breaking point. It's when your mind, as a viewer, just snaps, and you're just waiting for the end. But you're still asking for more. Rika means a lot to the series because she's mentally checked out of everything at just about every point that we see her. Putting on the cute face to maintain the fact that she's 11 years old physically, it's when we get a look into how she handles things when nobody's around, or when she's talking to her one true friend through it all, Hanyu. I'm not going to get into it, but long story short, Hanyu is a goddess that everyone in Hinamizawa worships, but everyone thinks of her as cruel and unusual when she's literally just a sweet girl that did nothing wrong besides have horns. What they do with this fact, aside from one time letting Hanyu be a physical character seen by everyone, is let Rika have an external monologue to someone that can share the pain of dying over and over again. Someone that really understands. Of course, it being a visual novel, manga series, anime, what have you, we're still privy to the thoughts that Rika has due to the nature of how these things are written when perspective comes into play. It's not like a regular book-to-movie adaptation which has to face this specific challenge. Rika's inner turmoil, her detachment, her ability to switch into her adult voice to truly terrify people around her and make them wake up. This entire show wouldn't work if it wasn't for the juxtaposition of Rika's small, fragile physical existence and her hundreds of years of mental anguish. Keiichi and Rika form a perfect duo to carry this series through its ultimate conclusion. This isn't to say that the other characters are slouches in the writing department either, but I'm not going to be giving them much spotlight. Though, I do have to bring special mention to the mascot of the series, Rena. She has a very timeless design, the school uniform, the casual outfit, all of it. Her eventual breaks in character that form the bigger picture of Hinamizawa and the series as a whole are truly a spectacle to behold. A lot of friends of mine see themselves in Rena, aside from the murder part with a bladed saw, but I wouldn't want to piss them off either. She's interesting to watch, from her cute mode to her weird conspiracy theory-based deductions. This is a real thing that she does. It's going to come up, and I'm sorry to disappoint all of you, but Mion and Shion are my personal favorite girls of the series. Mion is always immediately portrayed as the energetic, go-getter type, the tomboy, the one who wouldn't hesitate to put you in a headlock, but when it's her softer sides that are shown, that you really see the full picture. The girl who will punch you in the gut but totally let you lay in her lap when nobody else is looking. The girl who cheats at everything, laughs when you're in pain, but is absolutely the first person to grab your hand and pull you back up and tell you that it's alright. Now put the maid dress on. I said a lot of words, and hopefully that means that Ryukishi did his goddamn job. Shion, on the other hand, in many respects, is the complete opposite of Mion. Shion is more outwardly girly, she wears skirts more often than not, and she's the strong one that's just trying to stand up to her older sister, and that's why she's not featured as much in the main series, despite still being a central character. Unfortunately, I don't have much to say about her, but it's still up there in terms of favorites. Satoko is probably my least favorite character, despite understanding where she comes from emotionally. If I was more able to relate to her, I'd be more ready to write about her haughty attitude and that she's kind of the little sister character that teases you and you can't help but enjoy when she's around. I like all of the characters in this series, even when they're ostensibly the bad guy, mostly because the characterization itself is always really good. Sure, I understand why Mio Takano is doing the things that she's doing, and it's unfortunate that she has to be one of the worst humans alive, but thankfully she's hot. Her red flags are big, but her boobs are bigger. What it do, baby? I'm about to... The one thing I remember talking about way back in November of 2020 to the person who's probably reading this to make sure I didn't fuck anything up was that I never finished the series. I never read the last arc and got my closure, because the festival viewing arc is the quote-unquote good ending, where everything finally fits together and we're finally put to rest. It's an experience that I never thought I would enjoy, especially having to navigate truly disgusting character art that I couldn't stop turning pages to see more of. Blood, gore, a lot of things that for some reason normally turns me off. Slasher movies are one of my least favorite things to watch, oddly enough, mostly because I'm turned off at this kind of stuff, but Higurashi was able to break all of my barriers down as a younger human, and now I can truly appreciate everything that the writing, the art, the characters, the entire series has done for me as a creative person. Fun fact, Ryukishi07 is the main reason why my username on so many places is Tsuzuri. It's pronounced Tsuzuri, by the way. And at the end of the day, I hold Higurashi up as one of my favorite anime-adjacent things in the past 20 years. More than anything else that has influenced my personal style and taste since I have learned what those things are, more than the new, the old, Higurashi has always been a standout pick. And I'm glad to keep it that way. My name is Sonata. Thank you for watching.